There's a new Home Depot now open on Maurice Avenue in Maspeth. And as home improvement projects go, this is a big one. Use the product locator on our app for an in-store map to find what you need fast. And check out our new pickup lockers. They make online shopping a breeze. Of course, one thing's not new, our everyday low prices. The Home Depot, now open near Maurice Avenue and Long Island Expressway in Maspeth, and always open at homedepot.com. The Home Depot, how doers get more done. There's a new Home Depot now open on Maurice Avenue in Maspeth. And as home improvement projects go, this is a big one. Use the product locator on our app for an in-store map to find what you need fast. And check out our new pickup lockers. They make online shopping a breeze. Of course, one thing's not new, our everyday low prices. The Home Depot, now open near Maurice Avenue and Long Island Expressway in Maspeth. And always open at homedepot.com. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net. Christopher Media, let's make some noise. From Asthmacore Studios near Detroit, Michigan, it's unregimented.
Gangsters, what's up, guys?
And now, here are your hosts, Aaron, Chris, and Rich.
Have either of you guys seen the announcement for the new Nintendo system?
Yeah. No.
What do you think, Rich? Think that's something that you would utilize?
No.
Not for you?
What I thought was interesting was that during the reveal trailer or whatever they call them these days, I noticed that they were playing Skyrim.
Yes.
And
yes.
You know, gaming, Skyrim is basically computer games that they started to port over around the third one actually,
to
on
the
the
consoles.
consoles.
Yeah.
And it's real nerdy role-playing game stuff, and for whatever reason, Nintendo never hopped on that. They've never had an Elder Scrolls game, because the series is called Elder Scrolls.
Yeah.
Skyrim is the 5th episode in it.
Well, yeah, but Nintendo has been... well, it's not a closed system. They definitely highly promote their own products.
Which is weird.
Mario and all that shit, and Donkey Kong, Zelda.
You go back to the NES days, I mean, they fucking sold their seal of approval to anybody that could put a fucking sticker on a Nintendo cartridge. Right. There was so many third-party developers for anything that had Nintendo on it. They didn't really start becoming that insular until, I'm going to say, PlayStation come out and just spanked their ass.
Right, I think maybe if to generalize it, it would be like Nintendo was they were selling consoles, and they were like the only game in town for a long while, even though, you know, there was competition from like Sega and other companies like that. Nobody really stepped up as much as Sony finally did. And I think game developers were saying, we want to do this, we want to do that type of game. And they're like, well, we don't have the graphics for that, or we don't have the support for that. And we're not going to, because people are still buying the shit out of Mario and Zelda and everything else. And it was Sony that actually gave the developers a platform to try the newer technologies that people were using in arcade games. And get the more realistic rendering and all that shit that people were asking for, and that people were getting even at the time out of their PC more so than they were getting out of their Nintendo system or their Sega system.
I will say this: the console idea, what is it? Nintendo Switch is what it's called.
Yeah, well, let's describe it real quick if you haven't seen it. It's and I know Chris said that he didn't see it. But
I'm reading about it right now.
Right. If you're trying to get directly on a Nintendo's site, it's been very slow. I wasn't able to get everything to load on their page, but I watched the video through other sources, and you have a fairly large screen tablet style game system that has two controller units that slide onto either side. And so you can play it, which is basically it's a widescreen looking Wii U controller that is modular. Mm-hmm. Only the game is always in the game system that you carry around with you, and to play it on your home system, you put it into a cradle or a dock and then you disconnect, you slide out the little controllers, you can connect them together into one controller, you can play with them separately, you can play on the go, you can play 2-player on the go. Like, they showed people actually using each side of the controller as a separate 1-player controller.
Where's this when we were 12?
I think the design and the functionality of it's astounding, and I'm going to buy the fuck out of it. And I'm really excited for it. But
I think Nintendo's. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, the thing is, it's not competing with anything that Microsoft or Sony's doing. It's a little cartridge game with probably. I mean, maybe it's got better graphics than what we're seeing now out of the Wii U. Maybe it doesn't. That doesn't really matter to me, but that's going to matter for other users. I
don't know, man. Skyrim looked pretty good from what I saw. I mean, it looked like it was.
That Zelda game looked good as fuck.
You know, they only showed it in passing for a few seconds, but I mean, from the little short screenshots I saw of them playing, it looked as good as the game looked on the 360. Now they're remastering it, giving it an HD upgrade, right? And it's coming out in like a week or so. So God knows how much better it's going to look then. But still, I mean, I was like, okay, all right, cool. Right. My problem with Nintendo is I'm not into Pokemon.
Yes,
my daughter is an adult, and she's more into like Final Fantasy type stuff. Mm-hmm. And I look at Nintendo almost as like a kid's and a casual gamer.
I hear you, and that's
type system.
I'm a casual gamer with kids that are the right age, and that's why I'm all into this Nintendo shit.
Exactly. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. Hey, I'm not gonna, dude. I ain't gonna lie. What was it? The Zelda game for Nintendo. Or Super Nintendo. I played the shit out of that. I played the shit out of the first Legend of Zelda. The first game I loaded up when I had an NES emulator on a computer that could handle it was Legend of Zelda.
I'm going to beat the fuck out of Link Between Worlds, I think it's called, as soon as I get it back from my son. He's had it for like 4 weeks.
But I mean, so Nintendo has games that I'm interested in. It's just consoles, the prices are going up. Through the fucking roof compared to what they used to be. And if I'm going to drop, because I'm not going to find the deal I found on the Xbox One probably ever again, but if I'm going to drop like $300-$400 on a console, it has to be more than a handful of games that's going to keep my interest. And I'm just not into like the Pokemon. And Nintendo does a lot of JRPGs,
right?
More Japanese style role playing games.
$300 to $400 is a lot to consider. That would have to be in addition to your choice of PlayStation or Xbox system, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. If I really wanted it, I could go out and put one on reserve. And I'm not going to, end up on the street to do it.
Yeah.
But it's just like, it's like the VR for PlayStation. Yes. I don't see any games that it's worth going out and spending $400 or $500 on.
We'll see.
Yeah. I mean, when it comes down in price and the games get better.
Yeah. We're still early in the technology too. The latest VR glove that I saw that I think it's out of development. It's actually available for purchase, but still really expensive. But you actually put this whole glove on instead of carrying like the batons or sticks or something like the Sony VR has. This you actually put gloves on so you can use your hands in the environment, in the virtual environment, and it's got like basically it looks like a little Velcro strap that goes around all the fingers and at each joint. Or in between the joints, rather. So each finger would have 3 little cuffs on it with a tiny little wire that goes to... Yeah, anyway. I just thought that was cool. So it's not so much just about, using your hands. It's about being able to use your fingers.
It sounds like when Nintendo come out with the Power Glove back in the day, what they were trying to get it to do, but they didn't have the technology to really do it. I'm not going to say they said it was going to do that, but they definitely played it up in the commercials, and that movie that turned out to be a commercial for it in Super Mario 3 was the Wizard or whatever.
Yes,
the Wizard.
Yeah, classic.
Wasn't that Howie Mandel and Fred Savage?
Yeah.
They definitely played it up like it was going to be like some sort of Neo virtual reality glove, and all it really was a damn glove that had a controller on it.
Right.
That's what it turned out to be.
Had a little switch on it that you could tell if your hand was open or closed sometimes.
Yeah, and it's like it wasn't motion controlled. If you were playing a character, you didn't move your arm, and he moved his arm exactly like that. But I mean, it was a nice shot for what they were trying to do. But yeah. As far as Nintendo goes, I got a lot of friends they don't either their kids are older, or for whatever reason they still love Nintendo, and they own every single console Nintendo's put out, every little DS 3D, and all this shit. And they got Pokemon Gold through Platinum and Diamond, and I'm like, dude, I'm lost. Like, seriously.
I never had a GameCube, but other than that, I've had every Nintendo system, I believe.
The last one I had was GameCube.
Yeah.
And I had GameCube for the Star Wars, couple Star Wars games they had on it, and then the Metroid game they had on it. And then I didn't play it, and I sold it to a buddy of mine after those games. I was like, I'm good. Here you go. You can buy it for like half of what I paid for it. I got my use out of it.
I think, if it's $400, I would definitely have to have some more in-depth, plot-driven, Xbox and PlayStation style games available for it to drop that much. If it's $300 or less, I think it's kind of a no-brainer, the enjoyment that I would get out of it.
Well, yeah, and to me, it's like, I guess for me, it's like when they come out with the PlayStation 4 Pro or the Xbox One S.
Your 4Ks and all that shit.
I'm just like, $500 to put because it's got a 2 terabyte hard drive in it. And it does an upscaled 4K,
right.
Or upscales to 4K. I went out and bought an $80 external hard drive and a USB, or not a USB, shit. Anyways, the cable to hook it up, and I have basically 3 terabyte hard drive, 2 of it external on my Xbox One.
Yeah,
and it works just fine on my high def TV. It looks great, So, and I'm not dropping $1,000 plus for a 4K TV to rival the size and features of my high def TV. So, for what I have now, yeah, it's great. And when the true next generation console comes out, I'm almost to the point where it's like it depends on the games whether I'll buy it. I'm almost Jay and I don't talk a lot outside of the show, but the little bit that we have about gaming stuff, he's almost got me to the dark side where I'm over to like PC Master Race.
Yeah.
So I might just say fuck it, for $500 I could upgrade my desktop and then play any goddamn thing I want.
That's what I'm talking about.
It. On top of that, porn looks great in high def. Shit.
Yeah, well.
No. New porn, because they cast with high def in mind.
Right. Looking
back at like 80s and 90s porn, and you see like the sweat boils and stuff, and you're like, ugh, I need a VHS. Here, I'm slathering like Vaseline on my screen to get it fuzzy and shit, because I'm like, I don't want that, need that clear. Someone give me a scrim or a gel to put over this shit. What the fuck,
Can we get the Barbara Walters filter?
Yes, exactly. Well, okay, so you brought that up. Have you seen the trailer to come out today for the new Wolverine movie?
No, well, I've been reading about it a lot. I actually forgot to watch the trailer, but I understand what it's about. It's pretty violent from what I hear.
Well, there's 2. There's the
Red
PG
Band trailer, yeah.
Yeah, the Red Band trailer. It's got a couple. He basically drives his claws up underneath a guy's chin through top of his head at one point.
Yeah. But it does.
It doesn't look anywhere near as violent as Deadpool, though.
Yeah.
So,
well, I don't know.
Deadpool's opening scene, there was brains and bone and shit flying around.
You'd have to try really hard to be more violent than Deadpool, and it's really not a contest. But I'm glad to see this version of Wolverine. It's going to be interesting. They are taking indeed a lot of themes from the Old Man Logan storyline
Well, that's what I was going to say. I guarantee. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
I was going to say I guarantee that from watching it, because I haven't read any like spoilers what the plot is.
Yeah.
But there's two things that you said that you hope are in there, and you called it.
X-23.
One is the girl that he is helping.
I didn't think she'd be
one with the two claws.
Right. I didn't think she would be so young, but yeah.
Yeah. And the other thing is, just like in the comic book Old Man Logan, I think he does end up slaughtering most of the X-Men.
Yes. That's
I
implied.
think that's how it'll be open. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you nailed it. There you go. I mean, so hey, Chris, we got a unregimented version of the Iceman here.
Yeah.
He iced.
Well, I mean, I had been reading a lot of things about how this is going to be, related to the Old Man Logan storyline. I knew that from the last X-Men movie, that they were going to, Logan's DNA was going to be in play. And, that just immediately took me to that. Well, any number of his clones, but X-23 would be the most popular.
The one thing I will say about the trailer that kind of got me rolling my eyes, and I hate to say this because I love Johnny Cash.
Yeah.
But they really need to stop using Hurt, his version of Hurt, in trailers.
Yes.
It's like, okay, we get it. Can you pick like a melancholy, sad song besides that? It's not the only one that's been, done in the last 15 years.
Right.
And you can even go back further. I don't mind. It worked in Guardians of the Galaxy to pull from the 70s. So, I mean,
yeah.
Can we get something else for a music bed during a trailer when we're supposed to, like, oh, we get it. This is the last Hugh Jackman Wolverine movie. Feel sad.
As a Johnny Cash fan, I'm glad that we have the American recordings in the history books and available to listen to, that we have Johnny Cash at that period in his life. I think that, and technically, I mean, these are all Rick Rubin recordings. They're impeccable. They're not Johnny Cash's best work. There's some gems in there, but that was not the pinnacle of Johnny Cash's work, in my opinion. And the fact that that's what everyone seems to go back to is kind of baffling to me. It's like anyone's only interested in the covers that he does, but I say that and I think about all the covers that he's done. I mean, not just on the American recordings, but in the whole history of Johnny Cash,
Well, yeah, it's like one of my favorite songs that he ever did was Sunday Morning Coming Down, and
right, he didn't
that's
write
a Chris
that.
Christopherson song.
Right, so I don't know.
And if you really want to look at it this way, Ring of Fire is a cover song because
that was
June Carter wrote it.
Right.
So
that was about her feelings about Johnny Cash. That takes some balls to sing that. Hey, that song that you wrote about me? I'm going to sing that one.
Yeah, I wrote Walk the Line about you, and you wrote this song about me.
Right.
Hey, let's go ahead and can I use that? That doesn't paint you in the most flattering light, right, John?
Does that mean I get to sing Walk the Line? No.
No, we're just going to keep singing Jackson.
yeah. Which is one of my absolute favorites. Hey, well, shoot. I don't know if I want to talk more about the X-Men or if I want to talk about music. Let's get back to music in a second because
music.
Well, real quick, then we'll wrap up. Yes.
I want to ask you one more thing because I know that you've read the comic books. I don't know if you've read the books.
Yes.
Have you read the Dark Tower series, the books?
Oh, I read the first book.
The worst one in the series, okay.
Okay, so that's why I didn't read the second.
Okay. We got to remember he wrote that first one. He was 19.
Okay.
So it's it shows. The last chapter he wrote when he was in his late 30s. It took him that long to finish the first book. Anyways, they're coming out with the movie. And,
is this the one that's got Idris Elba in it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which started a minor shitstorm because in the second book, the fact that Roland, the gunslinger, the main character of the series, is white is a major plot point.
Yeah.
and I'm not going to spoil it for anyone who wants to read it with the movies coming. I mean, if the movie wouldn't come out, I'd throw it out there. But you can go on Wikipedia and read a summary of it if you really want to know why that matters. But then I found, they said, oh, well, what we're doing is it's not really an adaptation of the books. It's kind of a sequel to the books.
Yeah.
Because, it's the next step in the cycle. And if you know the story of the Dark Tower series, you get what I'm saying without me hopefully giving it away. But
well, I understand. I know the gist of the story, yeah.
And I'm just like, okay, all right. So right there, dropped all my expectations because I've been a fan of this series. It's like the third Stephen King book I picked up in like 1986 was The Gunslinger. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's been 30 years I've been a fan of this series. Well, they leaked the trailer for the movie, and it was online. And I watched it. And I don't know if any of you guys have ever been stoked about a franchise. I mean, as a comic book fan, Aaron, I'm pretty sure you've had this feeling. You're like, oh my God, they're making a movie. And then you see the trailer and you're like, that's it?
Yeah, the first X-Men trailer that I ever saw.
Exactly.
It's like, what? Leather jackets, get the fuck out of here.
And it's just like, oh, I was so bummed. I was like,
right.
I wanted to like it. I just couldn't. I'm like, meh, I'll wait for it on DVD.
Well, it's interesting that I'm not necessarily invested in it. If it's good, I'll watch it. If it's not, I won't care. I've read a decent amount of Stephen King books and enjoyed them. I've enjoyed a lot of adaptations of his movies. Not even having to pay attention to this. The production has been out there because when a lot of the stories that I go to for news about comic books and other nerdy shit, they'll post stories about production on the Dark Tower. It's been going on for years now.
At least 15 from the first time I heard about it. Who's going to be
in it and who's not, and it changes constantly, and it's going to be a faithful rendition, and then it's just going to take place in the universe. Well, it's going to be one movie. No, it's going to be 3 movies. No, it's going to be 3 movies with TV shows happening in between. No, it's just going to be a TV show now. No, you know what? The movie idea was actually better. I mean, with the fucking committee of idiots that they have to go through to make these types of decisions, I don't know how anything good could possibly come out the other end.
Idiots.
It does. It happens every now and again. Sometimes the material and the actors that are devoted to that material are so dogged and determined that you can't help but have something that's enjoyable to watch in the end. But you got to know that this is really just poisoning the waters of this universe. It seems cursed almost.
Well, there's a script that leaked that's been confirmed to be the script that they shot.
Yeah.
And basically what they did is they took the scope of this series is on par with like Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings. Like it touches on a whole lot of different things in the span of 8 books.
Yeah.
And they basically turned it into a tween movie where the gunslinger is Jake's. And I believe they changed his name to John for some reason. The boy in the series.
Yeah.
He's his sidekick / buddy. The movie's more about him than it is about the gunslinger.
Okay.
And I'm just like, okay, right there, whoever wrote that script doesn't understand the story if that's the case. Mm-hmm. Unless they're telling it like.
No, but they know how hashtags work. Hashtag Team Jake.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. It's like, what writer watched Twilight and the Hunger Games and decided, oh, let's make this a movie for, the tweeners out there and the young adults and all this shit. And I'm just like,
yeah. Why are they making movies for people that don't have any money?
Well, on top of that, it's going to be. At first, I said it was going to be an R. Now it's going to be PG-13. And it's like, okay. And I won't be surprised if it's cut down to PG by the time it comes out. But I mean, PG-13 these days, it's pretty commonplace to see like 8-year-old kids, their parents in a PG-13 movie. That's no big. I know 7-year-olds that have seen all the Hunger Games movies. So
Titty used to mean R. Titty, you'd see titty in a PG-13 movie now.
PG-13 used to mean you get to say fuck once. But you can't say it in a sexual way. You have to say it like motherfucker. You can't say I fucked her. And you can maybe get like a quick flash of boobs, maybe some ass.
Yeah, non-contextual fucking a side boob.
Can you say I fucked that motherfucker? Or would that make it an R?
You can say I fucked that motherfucker up. But I think motherfucker automatically got you an R. Because, I mean, if not, a lot of Richard Pryor movies would have been...
Yeah.
But yeah, I know we've talked about it because you said you've read the comics and stuff, and the comics is something I tried to get into, but when they started going back and retelling...
Oh, we were talking Dark Tower again?
Yeah.
I have not read the comics. I've checked them out, but I've not read them.
Okay. Swing and a miss. I misread that situation completely. My bad.
Cool. I'm always interested in anything that Stephen King has to do with. I'm not 100% into everything that he does, but I pay attention because there are things that he does that I find really interesting.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're a Stephen King fan, even a casual one, and you've seen like the Stand miniseries, and you have a memory that's somewhat good, you're going to realize that the bad guy in the Stand miniseries is the same bad guy in the Dark Tower movie.
Right.
And then that's what I think is going to end up being missing from the series, is that it's not going to connect everything like he wanted to.
It's not going to connect in the its own universe sense. Probably the best connection you'll get is like a cameo from Stephen King. He'll be playing a guy like, I don't know, selling water on the side of the road or something.
I joked about it with a huge tower junkie of a friend of mine. I said, I wouldn't be shocked.
Stan Lee cameos.
Yeah, he starts doing the Stan Lee thing if they actually make more than one movie of the Dark Tower. Like at some point he's like in the background and he has like 2 lines and that's it.
Right.
He's like a barista.
Yeah.
Kill him.
or like his cameo in Sons of Anarchy, where he's the cleaner after they murder somebody, and he just shows up and he's just creepy as fuck and doesn't say anything, and they're like, dude, we're killers and felons, and he scares us. And that was just his character, just to show up and clean up dead body parts. Something like that.
Another, similar to that universe of the Dark Tower and what was the other book that you had mentioned? The same bad guy.
Oh, The Stand?
Oh, yeah, The Stand.
And the same bad guys in Eyes of the Dragon, another Stephen King book. The book It was one of my favorites. Between that and Dark Half, those are like my 2 Stephen King pillars. Those are my 2 favorite books that I read of his. Very different books. Extremely different, extremely polar opposite in as they can be and still be in the same genre. It, had, it was made into a mini-series, I believe. I know I watched it. I think it was a multi-part thing. It wasn't just a TV movie. And it was.
It was okay, but it didn't get anywhere near. It just kind of dipped its toe in the story that was explored in full in the book. And that's another thing that's, we're in production on a new movie, probably for just as long, 10, 15 years. But there is finally this was over the summer, we got to see our first look at the new Pennywise. I don't know. It's kind of tough to have to play any character that has previously been played by Tim Curry. But then people said that about Jack Nicholson and the Joker at one time as well. So I could be as optimistically cautious as I am about the Logan movie. Like, not putting my hopes in it being fantastic, but I'm ready to be surprised and blown away. Hopefully.
Well, I think the actor who's playing Pennywise in the remake, his best bet is to not try to. He better pull a Heath Ledger. He better go. Right. What Jack Nicholson did with the Joker is not something I'm doing. He better say what Tim Curry did is not something that I'm doing.
Yes.
I'm exploring a different aspect, because I personally think most people who are terrified of clowns that are our age, it's due to that fucking miniseries. Tim Curry playing it.
That and the movie Poltergeist, yes.
Yeah, oh shit, I forgot about Poltergeist. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
Pulls the kid into the closet.
Yeah. The little toy clown. I forgot about that.
Bill Skarsgård is the Swedish actor that is playing Pennywise.
And I saw him without the makeup on, and I was like, him? He looks kind of
looks like a young Jim Carrey, doesn't he?
He kind of looks like a little nerdy guy, but then I saw him in the makeup, and I'm like, oh, okay, all right, yeah, I guess he can pull it off. The look, at least.
You ever get into reading horror books when you were a kid, Chris? Do you read any Stephen King or Clive Barker or anything like that?
I read like the first quarter of it and got bored.
Yeah.
I don't know what that says about my personality.
Dude, you picked his longest book up to that point. I think The Stand, when he released the revised version, was longer than it, but still, it's like 1,200 pages long, dude. It's like picking up the Bible and going, this is going to be the first book I ever read.
We got to get to some music because a couple things. The Hall of Fame, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was announced. And, oh shit, what was the other one that had to do with music? Oh, Bob Dylan getting the Nobel Peace Prize. But if I could just put a little bow on our conversation about, oh fuck. I segued so hard I lost my train of thought. What were we just talking about? The Dark Tower, Stephen King. Yeah. No, it's gone. Fuck. Oh, we were talking about books. Yes. Okay. So before we get to music, I just wanted to share with you real quick. The book that I'm currently reading is the second book in a trilogy of books by an author whose name I'm going to have to look up. But the first book is called The Three-Body Problem. I don't know if I've mentioned this before.
I don't think so, no.
Three-Body Problem. It's a science fiction that kind of leans more heavily on the political science more so, and the actual science than the science fiction. But it is about basically the Earth's first contact with an alien civilization and what happens from there. And
they turn around and leave?
It's not... Well, there's just contact made, right? Not like direct contact visitation. Just a signal sent and a signal received. As if somebody, found the... what was it? The Galileo? Was that the color? What was the one where they put the fucking record?
Voyager.
The Voyager? No, was it Voyager? That's what the satellite, they put the record inside?
Yeah, because the first Star Trek movie, that's what...
Oh, right, yes. Okay, absolutely, yeah. All right. So, anyway, it's a fantastic book. It's a Chinese author, and her name is... Oh, shit. Oh, I looked up the actual...
I bet there's an accident in an odd place.
Lu... Oh, see, like, it's Cixin. I have no idea how to pronounce it. Liu, and then last name Cixin. Or actually, it's Chinese. I think it could be the other way around. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, aren't they last name first? Like you're reading a fucking goddamn attendance.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
I thought that was Japanese, but okay.
Right.
Like Suzuki is. Suzuki would be like Richard for me, but they put it at the end of the name.
Right. Something like
that.
Yeah. So anyway, it's not giving anything away to say that the alien race that is contacted quickly understands that they are superior and we suck, and that also that...
Did they get signals of last night's debate?
There was, They also understood that their planet sucked and that our planet was superior. So that didn't quite equate to them. So they realized, hey, guess what? We're moving in. Hey, so
you got some new fucking neighbors.
Right. We're coming to exterminate you and take over your planet. And there's nothing
that's terrorism.
And there's nothing that you can really do about it. Good news is it's going to take us 400 years to get there. So this is what the human race...
What are we going to move?
Right. Right. That's one of the questions. This is what do humans do when faced with that problem of in 400 years we're definitely coming and taking over your planet. And there are some analogies, some lines drawn to global warming and other concepts like that, where kind of illustrating humans' lack of long-term planning when it comes to anything world-changing, much less extermination. Really, really interesting book, or a series of books. So, but music. We want to talk about the Hall of Fame was announced, right?
Aren't these the people that are potentially the nominees? Like, aren't the actual nominees?
This is the first round
in December.
Yes.
This is like the people you can vote on.
Yeah, if you can vote, if you have a vote.
Yeah, this is the ballot. These are the people eligible to get in.
So, who do we got here?
Pearl Jam, I know is on there. Depeche Mode.
Pearl Jam, we knew as soon as that they were eligible.
Fuck God, no, please, no. Journey is on the ballot. Janet Jackson.
Electric Light Orchestra. Finally.
How is Jeff Lynne not in that place?
I don't know.
In some way.
How many fucking hit songs do you have to have?
Remember this band called the Beatles? You might have heard of them. When they decided to make music again after like 35 years, they called on Jeff Lynne to produce it. How is he not in there?
Yeah. Do you think, when the Traveling Wilburys got together, do you think anyone even questioned, well, who's going to produce this record?
I know, right?
That was like wondering that was like asking who's going to play drums in the Traveling Wilburys.
Yeah. Did you ever actually think about the album count in that group collectively sold? I mean, it's got to be like triple digit million.
Yeah, it's insane. Tupac. Tupac is one of the more controversial ones. Now that we're letting rappers in.
If NWA's in, why can't Tupac get in?
I don't know. If Tupac can't get in, why can't Kanye get in? I mean, eventually.
I hate to. Yes, you're right.
So you have to understand that a vote to let Tupac in now is a vote to let Kanye in 15 years.
But isn't it a given that he's going to be in at some point?
He's either going to be in it or burn it down.
Yeah, well, I mean, if it goes on body of work and how he affected popular culture, yes, he fits those criteria. He has more than one album, unlike Depeche Mode. Like, isn't Violator like their greatest hits? Like, how are they eligible?
No, they had hits prior to that and after.
The one Depeche Mode album everybody knows is Violator.
Yes,
that's it. I think to me, to be in the Rock Hall, you gotta have a few albums that everybody knows by name. Like Kanye would qualify in that category as well.
Yeah.
See, you say Violator, and I'm like, okay, yeah. I mean, I know that that's the album that everybody would not everybody, most people would go to. What was the next album they come out with?
It's just the one that 50-year-old white people would know. Hey, Depeche Mode. Oh yeah, Violator, great album. No, the one afterward, I Feel You. That video was kind of laughable.
Yes is not in the Hall of Fame already?
I mean, come on. This is the same institution Black Sabbath isn't in there.
Bad Brains.
a genre of music exists because of Black Sabbath, and they're not in there.
Okay, but let's be honest here. One, last year, shit. I'm catching your
last year's nominations.
Part-timers. Steve Miller, thank you. It took me a second. Steve Miller got in, and Steve Miller basically savaged him backstage after his induction. Went on Howard Stern, absolutely just roasted the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and his complaints was basically, it's not. Yes, some artists are a given that they're going to be in there, the Beatles, Rolling Stones, etc. He goes, but when you get past the top tier first ballot Hall of Fame people, it starts becoming a money game. And it's how much money is your record company or your camp or the artists themselves willing to spend to get in there. And he gave an example of him and his band got inducted. And he said, okay, well, I'm going to need this many tables because it's going to be me, all my band members, and their spouses. And the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was like, oh, yeah, that's no problem. For everybody that's not inducted, it's going to be $10,000. He said, my bandmates' spouses have to pay $10,000 to come to the induction ceremony? And they were like, yep. Yeah. And that's when he started digging, and he said, it's more about money being spent, and it's not even really. That's how come when you say, Chris, one album doesn't get you in there. There's a lot of people that are in there that, I mean, I'm sorry, I have nothing against Joan Jett. Joan Jett,
I don't think she should be in.
Should be way down on the list compared to people that aren't in there. On top of that, they got a real hard on.
Joan Jett's real hard on against zombies aren't. Fuck off.
They got a real hard on whoever picks the artists for the ballots against progressive rock music, metal for the most part.
Yeah.
And really, if you're letting blues and hip hop guys in, where are all the jazz guys? Where are the crossover jazz guys? Okay, Miles Davis is in.
It's a good question. You're telling me that no longer it's not, you have to play guitar to get in here.
Well, it should be turned into the Music Hall of Fame, really.
Right. I mean, if we're going to talk about like bands, and they're going to go, okay, well, it's not based on necessarily record sales. It's based upon influence, originality. Right. Okay, where's King Crimson?
Yeah.
No one sounded like King Crimson when King Crimson came out. Fucking no one. No one had heard anything like 21st Century Schizoid Man when that came out.
Let's
no one still sounds like him.
Yeah. Let's start our own hip hop Hall of Fame, and we'll induct Black Sabbath.
Ozzy be up there like, I just want to say thank you for, and Tony be like, all right, Ozzy, shut the fuck up.
What's up?
This is
Flavor Flav and LL Cool J introducing Ozzy and Keith Emerson. And be like, this is bullshit.
Emerson, Lake, and Palmer. That's my law firm.
That's what kept me out of jail.
They don't even got a Jew in that law firm, and they kept me out of jail. That's good.
What about the Cars?
Those guys are cool. They bailed me out.
The Cars are not up for nomination.
I don't understand that one either.
How are they not in there already?
And you could argue the Cars, along with like Big Star and a couple other bands, pretty much introduced the world to pop to power pop.
Yeah.
Yeah, like how is Rick Ocasek just not in there as a producer?
Because he's balls deep in Paulina Porizkova going, I don't give a fuck about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I mean, even if you're not in the whole supermodel thing, that woman is like 60 years old and looks like she's 30. And he looks like Howard Stern after a crack binge. Yeah. He's fucking happy he's getting anything, okay? So
we actually had this conversation the other day on the Weedsman.
He looks like Howard Stern with AIDS, right? Like in the 1980s, though.
What about Jane's Addiction? Yeah, are you guys fans? I'm a fan. I've seen them play live. I enjoy both Jane's Addiction and Porno for Pyros. Not a raving fan. I
think Jane's Addiction is one of those bands that people there's more hype about them than actual substance to their music.
No, dude, no. I would argue maybe post Ritual of Hell Habitual, yes, but you go back and listen to Nothing Shocking. That's a great album from start to finish. That is a great headphone album from start to finish. If you were listening,
I guess I'm misrepresenting here. Once again, I think we're back to the body of work as far as.
Well, if you're taking into consideration cultural influence, Perry Farrell was pretty much the guy that started, or was at least the main mouthpiece for
Lollapalooza. Now he could get in for that.
Yeah. I think he get in for that alone.
If you think about it this way, what are to put it in industry black and white terms? I mean, radio programmers are maybe making sure they're only rotating 2 Jane's Addiction songs at all times.
Yeah. Like
Jane says in Been Caught Stealing.
Right.
Well, they're not going to play Nothing Shocking, especially these days on the radio. Can you imagine the millennials, if the little millennials in high school, if they heard sex is violence?
Yeah.
They'd flip, oh my God, and be like, once again.
Hey, can I get some Mountain Song? All right. Can I get Stop? Can we get those thrown in every once in a while?
3 days possible? Can we get 3 days? The DJ could take a bathroom break. Come on.
One of my all-time favorite. Well, there's 2 favorite Jane's Addiction songs that I have: "Summertime Rules," and "Standing in the Shower Thinking."
Yep.
And it's just especially for the lyrics in "Standing in the Shower Thinking." I mean, he's in the shower, he's thinking about everything, life, the universe, and how fucked up everything is. And, oh, by the way, he's pissing on himself because he's in the shower. I think it's brilliant.
I bought that. I rebought that CD for like the 5th time, and about 10 years ago on a trip down to Tennessee with the ex-wife, and she never heard it. And so I popped it in, and until it got to Jane Says, she was like, I've never heard this. I love this. This is great. And then it got to Jane Says, and she's like, oh my God, I'm so tired of the song. I'm like, there's a fast forward button on the CD player. Click. Okay, next song. Problem solved. But yeah, she was like, how come I never heard this? How come no one ever talks about these songs? I'm like, because people suck. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
Says is easily digestible. Been Caught Stealing has fart noises at the beginning of it. Haha, it's funny. And dogs barking. Oh, great, wonderful.
Right.
And they had a video on MTV.
Yeah. We could, people could make sense of a song like Jane Says because it's a well-written acoustic song, fairly simple and straightforward, and people understood that. And they understood Been Caught Stealing in the context of the 90s in general, how we had quirkier bands that could have little hits like, I don't know, the Presidents of the United States of America or...
Ned's Atomic Dustbin, School of Fish.
I saw them live. I love both those bands.
I like them too. I like them too. I mean,
no, but
when I was working at a guitar shop when I was 14, I mentioned Driving and Crying to the hair metal guys, and they looked at me and goes, one of the guys, he played in Seduce, and he goes, are you one of those artsy fartsy alternative fuckers? And I'm like, compared to your pointy fucking skin tight makeup wearing ass, yeah, I guess I am.
Right.
Hey,
I'm blanking.
Shut up and play your pig guitar.
Right. When like a band like Ween could have a kind of pseudo hit song that could break out, or like Violent Femmes. So I love the Violent Femmes, but the only song anyone ever remembers is Blister in the Sun. These quirky bands.
That is just.
Oh my God! Yeah. Wait a minute. Are Violent Femmes in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Because that is one of the most fucking rock and roll albums.
I love how people are like, it's not punk. I'm like, there's nothing more punk than to release a punk album played on all acoustics.
Yes.
That's like the punkest thing you could do.
At that point in time, especially. Dude, television's not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
I know. It's a crime.
I'm like, really? Really? If we're talking, I mean, them, Talking Heads, Blondies, they were the Ramones. That was the scene that spawned, for better or for worse, Green Day and Rancid and all these other fucking bands. I guarantee you'll never see the Misfits in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Really, if we're talking about cultural significance, the Misfits reunited. And people wanted to go see a bloated Sigourney Weaver looking fucking Glenn Danzig, all 5'3" of them on stage just to play with the Misfits again. And I mean,
fat chicks and black t-shirts everywhere rejoiced.
That's what I'm saying. Misfits all see it, you know exactly what the fuck it is. It's like the Rolling Stone lips. I mean, once again, it's a popularity contest, and I kind of think Steve Miller was right. If you're not the top tier, it's how much money are you willing to spend and how much ass are you willing to kiss to get in? Which is shocking to me that Steve Miller got in. If that's the case, it means his record company really wanted his back catalog to sell.
That's the interview where he said, "I'll wrap you up."
Yeah, that's right.
I think we were off the air at that time.
Yeah, but we talked about him on the Weedsman.
Oh shit!
I'd loved that press or it wasn't a press conference. It was just like the normal. Everybody lines up after.
Well, he's already in. What are they going to do?
Right.
Uninduct him?
Yeah.
Hey, man, I'm in. You spent all the money on the display. Fuck you. I'm calling you out.
Honestly,
throw in the trash?
The only thing about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame I've ever found interesting, like that for a long time was must-see TV, was seeing the jam session and sometimes seeing bands like Cream reunite that I never thought I'd see play together again. I remember when the Doors got in and Eddie Vedder filled in on vocals, and I was like, that's pretty cool. Like, seeing the performances, I don't give a fuck about the speeches. I went to the museum because we were in Cleveland, and we had nothing to do on a Sunday. And we went, and I was underwhelmed. So,
all you can do is you can blame the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony on that a portion of an album that was the Metallica Lou Reed album, because that's where that came from. Is they inducted him or he inducted them. One of them inducted each other, and they jammed together, and that's where that album came from. Because when you actually saw them jam on the thing, it was actually pretty good. Like, oh, that's pretty cool. Right. But a whole album of original material, it was awful for both of their careers.
There was one song that, because when the album leaked to the internet, I would basically give each song about 30 seconds. There was one song that lasted more than 30 seconds for me. I just couldn't do it. I was like, nope.
Like, it was just sad for both. It was sad on both. You felt bad for both Lou and Metallica. Like, oh, come on, guys. Are we this both? Are you both strapped for cash at this point in your career where you had to do this?
I just think fucking Lou Reed was probably like, it's something to do.
Please tell me that wasn't Lou Reed's last album.
I think
Please
it was.
tell me that wasn't Lou Reed's last album.
No, it was.
That was Lou's parting shot.
Yeah.
That piece of fucking that pile of flaming shit was Lou's last album.
Yep.
Come on, man.
Unless his widow releases, like,
he's recording with Cliff Burton now.
Come on,
unless
man.
his widow releases stuff from the like in the vault that he had recorded in after that just never got released. Yeah, that's it.
Come on, you wrote Loaded, man. Don't let that be your last album.
Mm-hmm.
You wrote Heroin, man. You wrote Sweet Jane. You can't go out like that.
Technically, it says Lou Reed's last album was a best of. Does that count?
Did you record any original songs for it, or even pull out like a B-side, or like?
This is a box set of remastered CDs. Do this. Wait, what the fuck's happening?
Did he have any input on it? I don't know. Sure, it counts. Anything to get him out of the doghouse. I don't want to hate on Lou Reed. Honestly, I mean, yeah, he's made some missteps in his career. Not 100% of his catalog is gold, but you could say that about any artist that takes chances.
I think it's kind of funny how much with what you just said about Lou Reed applies also to Neil Young. Like, their careers kind of parallel each other in that aspect, as far as they'll release an album of just a big fuck you to sometimes to their fans, most of the time to the record team, just to do it. So
like
that takes balls. It takes balls.
Right.
According to Wikipedia, it was his last released album.
No, I'm
new
sure.
Material.
Like, when Neil Young started to mellow out a little bit, people were probably going, "Man, you need to get the electric guitar going again, and really rock out with some power chords." He's like, "No, fuck you! I'm going to make trance."
Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna make an album with no guitars on it. It's gonna be all electronic, and it's dedicated to my son.
Well, and then the thing that I love,
I want to live in a world where you can do that. I don't want to listen to trance again, but I want to live in a world where Neil Young can do that.
What I loved is when the live album with Crazy Horse came out.
Yeah,
it was called Weld, and people, they were like, "Oh yeah, he's back rocking again." It's just such a Lou Reed thing, or not Lou Reed, excuse me. It's such a Neil Young thing to do. He released an EP to go along with it called Arc Weld. That was nothing but 30 minutes of guitar feedback.
Nice.
From his live shows, and I was like,
"That's awesome."
I'm like, "There we go. That's Neil Young." It's like, "Oh, you like my live album? Well, here, you'll like this one too. Buy this. I need to buy some more model train sets. Here you go. It's 30 minutes of guitar feedback." Oh, Christ. All right, we got anything else, or is that about it?
I'm sad for Lou Reed.
Who's his widow? Who was he married to? Not Mary Ann Faithful. I know she was a bigwig in the
Candy Darling.
No, the minute we hang up, I'm gonna be like, "Oh shit, that's who he was married to," but it doesn't really matter, I guess.
Laurie Anderson.
Thank you. That's exactly, an artist in her own right. So.
I had to look it up because I couldn't remember her name.
All right. Well,
funny. Yeah, I guess we can wrap it up there. I mean, I don't know. Unless you wanted to talk about how Leonardo DiCaprio has been shopping around a reboot of Captain Planet.
No, not really.
As a grim and gritty movie.
Can we shelve that?
What? Oh, can we shelve it?
Can we shelve it? I'm sure we can. It's not as timely as like the election. I'm sure we can put that in a box and bring it out.
I'm sure it'll come back up again in the future.
Why do we gotta have a dark? Because then we can go in. Why do we have to have a dark, gritty reboot of everything?
I don't even know what that means to have a dark and gritty reboot of Captain Planet, unless he's going to be killing people.
Man, first of all, let's analyze that statement. A dark and gritty reboot of Captain Planet. First, the last two words of that sentence to me are just make this. What's wrong with it?
Well, because what's the battle here? It's people versus the planet, right? And he's like, be better to your planet. Well, he's not going to be beating up animals or the planet in general, so he's got to be beating up people. And if it's dark and gritty, that means he's going to be killing somebody.
It's the final fucking confrontation.
Or he's just a drunk.
Is it Captain Planet versus the Earth?
The planet versus Earth?
Is it Captain Planet
versus the Earth, yeah.
Would that be the final showdown? The Earth has got dark, angry eyes and teeth.
Yeah, it turns out people weren't killing it, that the Earth actually had a suicide wish.
It's been trying to kill itself for years. We keep slowing it. We keep trying to slow it down. But I guess we can wrap it up here, guys. We want to thank everybody who has listened, who has downloaded. Keep coming, all right? Go up every show. So thank you to everybody. We're on iTunes. We're on Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn.com, anywhere you can get your favorite podcasts like this one. All right.
Yeah.
But thanks for listening, everybody.
Catch us on Twitter.
We will catch you next. Yes, at Unregimented Pod.
At Unregimented.
Yes. At Unregimented Pod on Twitter. At Unregimented on Instagram. unregimented at ChristopherMedia.net if you'd like to email us. Catch you next week.
Yeah, leave us
See you later, guys.
Leave us a review or rate us and get in touch with us. See you later.
Yes.
If you enjoy this show and want more people to know about it, head on over to iTunes, leave a comment, and rate it 5 stars. Make sure you like and share us on Facebook, and don't forget to follow us on Twitter. Just search for Christopher Media. Thank you in advance for supporting Christopher Media by clicking on the PayPal button and by clicking through to all the sponsors who support ChristopherMedia.net. Most importantly, we would like to take the time to extend an extra special thanks to you. Christopher Media could not exist without your support. Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net, and thank you for listening. Christopher Media. Let's make some noise. Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.
There's a new Home Depot now open on Maurice Avenue in Maspeth. And as home improvement projects go, this is a big one. Use the product locator on our app for an in-store map to find what you need fast. And check out our new pickup lockers. They make online shopping a breeze. Of course, one thing's not new, our everyday low prices. The Home Depot, now open near Maurice Avenue and Long Island Expressway in Maspeth, and always open at HomeDepot.com. The Home Depot, how doers get more done. There's a new Home Depot now open on Maurice Avenue in Maspeth, and as home improvement projects go, this is a big one. Use the product locator on our app for an in-store map to find what you need fast, and check out our new pickup lockers. They make online shopping a breeze. Of course, one thing's not new, our everyday low prices. The Home Depot, now open near Maurice Avenue and Long Island Expressway in Maspeth, and always open at HomeDepot.com. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.